Welcome back to the Completely Pointless Podcast. This is episode 32, and today you got your regulars. You got me, Jeremy, as well as...
It's your boy, Nick.
And it's your other boy, fuck
Skinny
guys, what's my
penis.
name?
Well, your name is Brandon.
There we go.
Fast.
Soulless.
Yeah.
I don't know, I'm trying to think of some insult, but all I can think of is stupid, so...
Oh.
But anyways, so me and Nick were talking about it right before we started recording while we were waiting on Brandon's slow ass.
I was here before 6.
Yeah, before 6, but not 20 minutes before 6, so that's late.
Yeah, fuck both of you.
But we were talking about all of the Amouranth drama. Brandon, did you know anything about this?
I looked it up I didn't look it up. I saw fucking Critical talking about it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And
I
I was
just
just
wanna-
like, what
I just
the
want to
fuck?
jump in real quick and say that my headphones just freaked the hell out, and I have no idea what y'all are talking about.
We're talking about
Couldn't hear
Amouranth.
Okay, so we're talking,
Yeah,
discussing that whole
discussing
fucking...
Amouranth again. So for anybody that's not aware, and at this point it's like 2 weeks old, a week or two old.
Oh yeah, like a week.
Amouranth was on stream, doing her normal thing when she gets a phone call and she basically tells the stream all right guys, I'll be back. Mutes herself, turns off her camera, proceeds to be gone for 2 hours. Comes back at the end of the 2 hours in tears, still with the phone, unmutes herself on stream so that everyone can hear the phone call. And it's her husband just screaming at her, going fucking batshit insane at her. So you miss a lot of it because, like I said, she was gone for 2 hours on this call.
Damn.
But the gist of what was happening when she came back was he had just threatened to kill her dogs because she didn't hear him correctly.
What the fuck?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
forget
that was
what it was,
basically-
but it was something she was
Oh, he wanted her to do a 24-hour stream.
something like that, but I don't even think that's
Yeah.
what he was upset about. I think he was just upset.
No, he wasn't upset about that. The fact that she was, it's the fact that she didn't, I guess, hear him or pay attention.
Yeah, because she
to
was
what he
just
said or
she was
something.
what did you say? And he's just going off. Hey, you didn't fucking listen to me. I was not telling you something. I was asking you a fucking question, and you're not paying attention, and it's fucking annoying. Going absolute bananas on her, right?
Jesus.
So that
Yeah.
goes on for I don't know, 20 minutes or so, something like that, of him just screaming
Ish.
at her. And
Long
then
enough.
she goes offline, everyone starts freaking out about it because that's just real abusive dipshit stuff.
Yeah.
And then, let's see, what else happened after that? So then she came back and basically made a who last time on fucking Amaranth the stream, and it was yeah, he's getting some help, and he gave me back access to all of my financial stuff because apparently he had full control of all of her bank accounts. And she posted a bunch of screenshots of texts he was sending her, and it was she was streaming or something, so she wasn't replying, and he was just losing his absolute mind, right? Text after text after text, 40 texts in the span of 5 minutes, just being
he was like a crazy ex.
Yeah, just being if you don't fucking respond to me right now, I'm gonna donate $200,000 of your cash to something. And then 2 texts later, it was all right, now it's 500,000. 3 texts later, it was now it's 750,000. 2 texts later, it was all right, it's gone. I got rid of it. You don't have that money anymore. And just kept going on for so long. And
Jesus Christ.
it was bad.
Yeah, he's
dude.
a full-on psychopath.
Yeah, dude, it was real bad. And so it's just I've seen a lot of people, I mean, obviously a lot of people are talking about it because she's a very popular streamer. I think one of, if not the most popular female streamer. I think
One of,
Ray
for
might
sure.
be above her. I don't know. I
Dude,
haven't looked at
Valkyrie
it,
is one
but
of my favorites. Yeah,
yeah.
her and Pokimane, I guess.
But so I saw so many people, dude, that were like a lot of people are like us are like, man, that dude's a fucking asshole. Like I hope she leaves his ass. But a lot of other people are like, ah, nah, she deserves it. Like,
Yeah, dude, that was wild to me. There were
What
people
the
who were like
fuck?
actually happy about it.
yeah, like that's
They're
what
like,
you
I'm
get
glad
for
this is
being a
happening.
slut, and you're like, dude, holy
Yeah.
What
shit.
the hell?
Yeah, calm down.
That is fucked off.
Yeah, and it's like even more people kind of like I hate to use victim blaming because I feel like a lot of people use it incorrectly, but a lot of people trying to victim blame her, right? Being like, "Oh, well, you probably just said some stupid shit or, we're just doing something stupid so you deserve it." I was like, "Man, even if she was just doing some stupid shit, that's some fucked up garbage that I don't think really anybody deserves."
Nah.
No.
And even
There's some
like
people who just hate other people's success though,
for
so they see
reals,
like
Yeah.
her going through something hard and they're like, "Ah, yeah, good. I hope this fucking sucks."
right?
Yeah.
Well, and it's just like um she's even like she was did a bunch of tweets or a bunch of whatever. She was saying that she's gone to the police before about him abusing her, but they basically just like hand wave her away unless she has physical evidence on her body of him beating her. They're
Yeah,
just like,
verbal abuse isn't like an arrestable crime,
yeah, so they're just like, yeah, whatever, get the fuck out of
or
here.
like it's not a crime to
Yeah,
be verbally
Yeah.
abusive.
I mean, and I get that. That makes sense, right? Like, you shouldn't be able to get in legal trouble just for walking up to someone and be like, hey, you're fucking stupid. But, like, it's also like at this point, he's wasting her money and being abusive and threatening to kill her dogs. And it's like, if this is
Yeah.
the stuff we've heard, worse shit has happened, right?
Yeah.
Like, this is probably the easy stuff or the small stuff that she's just like, oh, yeah, this is what's going on, but in actuality, he's probably a fucking giant piece of shit.
No, I mean, that's pretty clear because at that point of like verbal abuse and threats, you're not a great person. A good person isn't gonna fucking do that.
Yeah,
So yeah, you're a piece of shit. It doesn't matter if you're not in trouble with the law. You're a piece of shit.
that's true. Yeah, I don't
Yeah, it
know.
just
It's
sucks
just,
that like you can't do any like law enforcement can't really do anything about it.
Yeah, no, that's stupid.
it's just kind of dumb, but it's also like, and it's so difficult to be able to like, how do I say this? Like, make it so that people that are being abused can get, the protection, the legal ramifications that they deserve, but also make it hard enough that people can't just willy nilly blame random people for shit they didn't do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like
So the other thing is like, couldn't I don't know what like the justifications are, but couldn't she like file for a restraining order?
I don't know. I don't think. Wouldn't they have to be divorced first? I feel like there's some.
I don't think so.
I don't know. Again, I'm basing this off entirely just random shit I've heard over my 26 years of life. But I feel like there's some. Like, you can't basically file a restraining order against your spouse unless you
Uh
also get divorced with it.
well yeah, but I think it would be kind of ignorant for them to say, "Oh, you can't get a restraining order against your spouse
Yeah.
when
I mean, we're
like
talking about the
spouse."
law here. The law is kind of ignorant.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah,
it don't
but
make a
like
lot of sense.
when spousal abuse is such a thing,
Yeah,
like
right. Like
how
it's
how could you justify not giving a spouse a restraining order just because they're married?
yeah,
Like I don't think that holds up.
Yeah,
on, man?
I mean, I get it makes sense when you think about it, but I don't know. I feel like that's just there's so many like random financial and legal things that are tied to marriage. Like there's so many
Yeah.
rights you give your spouse when you get married to them over you, especially in a woman's case a lot of the times, that I feel like it just they wouldn't let you. Like it might be one of those really stupid things where it's like, "Oh, you want to get a restraining order against your husband? All right, make sure you have to get his signature to approve it." It's like
Yeah.
what? But even though that sounds absolutely ridiculous, I wouldn't put it past that being in some fucking law somewhere.
Well, yeah, because I mean,
Same.
there's all of those like you can't, like a woman can't just go get her tubes tied
Yeah, without spousal approval.
without, yeah, and
Ooh,
like,
did you know that
Bad
if you
shit.
haven't had kids and you go to get a vasectomy, you have to pass a psych eval?
Really?
mhm.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah, if you haven't had kids, they have to make sure that you're like not insane.
Dude, we
Because if you're
have.
insane, then they want you to reproduce,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, it doesn't make sense, right? It's like, shouldn't it then be that you have to take the psych eval, and if it proves that you are sane, you have to have children. If it proves you're not sane, you get the fucking vasectomy. I mean, that makes more
But is it,
sense than
but
the
is
other way.
it like, but is it that, or is it like a psych eval to make sure that you're
You're doing it
like,
because you want to, kind of thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
like you're doing it because you like you're sure you want to do this. Not
The
so
other,
much of
Yeah, but I
like,
mean,
can he make this decision? It's just a like, are
yeah,
you sure
sure, this is
is
what you want, but
you
it's
can't
like
go back on this?
one, they shouldn't have any right to tell you what you can and can't do with your own body. Nobody
yeah,
else
my
but
body, my choice.
yourself.
God
Yeah,
damn it!
yeah, yeah,
Where's the
yeah.
feminist movement now? God damn it! I'm just.
But I mean, honestly though, like they shouldn't
We
be
really
able to,
don't have a right to tell
especially
you whether or not, right?
especially for surgeries like vasectomies that are reversible.
Well, so the thing with a vasectomy though is it's reversible fairly like surefiredly at first, right? Within like the first like I think 3 months of the procedure or after. But then like as the time frame expands, there tend to be more and more complications with
To
reversing
reverse
it,
it.
and then it starts being like more difficult to do.
Yeah, but even then, man, it just feels weird that you have to get someone else's approval to
I feel like
make sure
instead
you
of a
don't have
psych
kids.
eval, they should do like knowledge, like just teach you, hey, yeah, so if you do it,
Yeah,
by
you
the
have to
way,
take like a crash course.
yeah, basically. That way you can be like they make sure they told you all the ways you could be fucking yourself.
Yeah. I don't know, man. It's still just so weird that they would like again, because like how, like you're saying, how do the results of a psych test mean anything, right? Because crazy and not being mentally well is so subjective that how could you just like make a decision for someone because you think, oh yeah, they might not be stable.
Hey, I'm not crazy, you're
Yeah, fair
crazy.
enough.
Just because you want to have kids doesn't mean I have to, god
Yeah,
damn
fuck
it.
that. And also, we need some form of population control in this world, anyways. So like,
Actually, we're doing that ourselves. So
True.
Generation Z
yeah, the birth rate.
has the lowest sexual activity rate and teenagers out of any generation in like a really fucking long time. Like,
Yeah,
Damn, yeah.
because they're all antisocial fucking morons.
well,
I
a
don't.
lot of what people are fucking saying is like the men are either scared or have no like well, there's like
Ain't
no
got no
incentive.
balls.
Well, there's no incentive,
Yeah,
right? There's no incentive for these like younger men to try and like date these other younger women because all these younger women are either,
Oh, I don't need no
focused on like
man.
yeah, making a job and shit like this instead of being like a like a partner or being like a mother or it's some kind of shit that's
Yeah.
like, what do they bring to the table that you can't do for yourself kind of thing, as well
Well,
as all of like the like allegations and shit. Like there's been a lot of people come out and like get falsely accused of shit, and it's like
I
such a
also saw
fucking
an article that was talking about that, but it's also from the perspective of, oh, it used to be where men would go and like pursue and sleep with women and all this stuff. And now it's swapped to now women are just doing whatever they want. They'll
basically,
go
right?
and
Like,
sleep with a
well,
different guy every night.
I saw
And
that,
so,
like, because to touch on that, right? Like, women want to be independent. They want to be able to do what they want, but then they still want men to be traditional and pursue them.
yes, yes,
But
they
they're not
want,
being traditional women in the fact that they will
yes,
be good, like, mothers and wives and, like, take care of the house and shit, and be, like, the more, submissive one of the 2, right? Like,
that's what I saw too. It's like they want to be, they want to do whatever they want, but they still want the man to provide it.
yeah.
But they're not bringing anything to the table to justify the man providing anything for them. And so all of these young guys are like, "No, I'm good.
Yeah, I can just go
I'm
jerk
good.
off.
Yeah, I'm good."
Well, I mean, and I think it's not really that they should. What am I trying to say? I'm trying to think of how. I don't really even know that it's necessarily that men are like looking at it and going, we have to, they have to add something to the relationship. I have to add something to the relationship. So it's not an equal sum, so there's no point in it. It's just like, in my case, I don't see any reason to bring another child, bring a person into this world when at the best, like the absolute best situation, they'll probably be where I am now. And where I am now is okay, but it's not anything amazing. So why should I pursue a relationship which, in the traditional sense of the relationship, the whole purpose of it is to bring another person into the world. So why should I pursue this relationship to bring a person into this world if I think bringing a person into this world is not worth it?
Feel that.
Yeah.
That's a lot of the reason I don't, pursue it as well.
So I don't know. It's
It's a multitude of factors, and I think right now it's just, like, people aren't really happy. Like, there's not, like, incentive to, like, seek out a significant other, right?
yeah,
There's
Yeah.
really not. And then there's not really incentive to have children because, I mean, for the most part, like, life is pretty, lackluster for, like, average people.
yeah.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it just depends, like, 'cause, whenever you have a kid, it's different as opposed to before you have one, you're thinking of it.
Yeah, Brandon, explain.
It is completely different because like
Like, pre-kid, you're
you,
like, "Nah, fuck kids." Post-kid, you're like, "Goddamn, I love
well,
my kid."
and I always wanted a kid. Eh, eh, I always wanted at least two. Um, but I didn't want them as early as I had them, if that makes any sense.
Yeah,
Like I
that's
Yeah,
fair.
want to be further along,
Yeah, a little more like
established.
settled.
secure. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we
Which,
all just use three different words, but they all fit. So
yeah, yeah. So I mean, it happens. It happened, and like even through that first pregnancy, it never really set in until I held my son, and then everything changed.
yeah,
Everything went from I'm doing this because I want to do it to I'm doing this because I want my son to have a great life.
yeah. But see, even that right there, like I think that's very admirable, right? And that's how it should be when you have a kid. Is that okay? Now it's not about you; it's about the kid. But I think it's also fair to go. well, I don't want it to be about a kid. I want it to be about me. Which
Yeah,
it
and
sounds
that's
selfish, but I think it's fair. I think it's a valid
yeah,
point.
no, it's completely fine, and that's why I didn't want to have kids until later, is because, well, I want to have some time to enjoy myself.
Yeah,
But now that it happened, I mean, I'm gonna get that time later,
maybe.
maybe, but like it just shifted it basically
Yeah,
into, well, now I got to get this one out, and now I got to get the next one out, and so I mean, it was fucking scary. I am not even gonna fucking lie to you. I was fucking terrified, but
Miranda said,
yeah,
"Shit."
man, but even like like again, I'm very anti-child, as you can pick up on. Oh, that reminds me.
Nah.
I wanted to.
no way.
Nick, you said something earlier about like people see having children as like being no point to it. And I'm like, yeah, there's the second they ban child labor, there's no reason to have a kid. Um,
I mean, you kind of, yeah.
but like everyone always makes the argument that like once you have your kid, it's different, right? And it is for a lot of people, but for a lot of people, it's not any different. And because I always like my dad and my mom are like, you should have kids because they want grandkids. I'm like, fuck no, I don't want kids. I hate kids. And they're like, oh, but once you have a kid, it'll be different. You'll love them. And I'm like, but what if it isn't? What if I get a kid and I still fucking hate him? And now I'm trapped for
I
for
mean, that's
18
true.
years. Like, there's no guarantee I will love this child. Okay.
And that's actually kind of a thing. I have a buddy, his ex-girlfriend, her mom is kind of like that. Like her mom doesn't really have much to do with her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she and she always talks about how she never really was meant to be a mom and all this type of shit.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, why did you go and
And
Do it.
there are plenty of people like that, and those people
Yeah.
should not have had kids.
Exactly. But how do you know? What I'm asking, I suppose, is how do you know before having a kid? How do you truly know if you're
You
a person
don't.
that should have a kid? Exactly. So
You
why
don't.
risk it?
I think it's kind
Yeah.
of one of those things like you'll know if you want one bad enough, right?
I
Like
guess that's
if
true.
you're just like there, you're like, "Oh man, I want to have a kid,"
I want
you
a
know?
kid. Yeah.
Like
Eh, yeah, and it's not even so much of it. It's a like I have to know right now if I want to have a kid. Like, no, you can fucking shit. Fucking men can have kids into their fucking 70s. It
That's
doesn't
true.
fucking matter.
God, could you imagine
Fuck
having a
no.
child
Absolutely, fuck that.
in your like
oh, like my
60s or 70s?
Yeah, like your fucking dad.
yeah, dude, my fucking dad, 50, I think he was 50. Yeah, 50 years old, fucking had twins. I'm like, "Eek." And I
Yeah,
was
that's
16 or 15. I
solid.
was fucking 15 and I moved out of the house at 16.
Oof.
Yeah, this is solid.
He had a
Fuck that.
year.
This is a solid.
He had a fucking year to chill on it and then have fun. Nah, motherfucker said, I'm about to do this shit on hard mode.
Right.
With twins.
Yeah.
Man, one of my the guys I work with who's in his like upper 50s, I think. He was
Mhm.
complaining about how like social security retirement isn't really a thing anymore because nobody's paying into it because
Yeah.
like and again I could be totally wrong when I'm saying this, but the way like social security works is basically you pay into it when you're young, like you're just paying the tax on it when you're young, so that then when you're older you can actually use it, right?
So what it's
Well, that's what Social
supposed to
Security
be,
tax is for.
it's supposed to be that you pay in to basically an account for yourself. But what it turned into with the baby boomers
Fucking bastards.
is that
It's all their fault.
their the inflation didn't keep up,
Yeah.
or the pacing didn't keep up with the inflation. So when they retired, they were having to draw off of other people's accounts.
Yeah, but there wasn't enough
And it,
money in all these other accounts.
but there
cover it.
wasn't enough. So everything that has gone into it for the last like 10 years is basically just paying the boomers' accounts.
Yeah.
And so that's why everybody says that Social Security is done, is because
It is.
it's drained,
Right.
and it's not filling because there's still too many boomers drawing on it,
Yeah, and we're not having kids fast enough to
and we're not
put tax-paying people in there.
Yeah, we're not creating that size generations anymore.
Yeah. Man,
Because
how do you?
that generation, all of them had like 8 siblings, and
Yeah.
now most people have like 1 or 2 siblings.
Right, dude. Even like when you start hitting 3 or 4, I'm like, why? Why would you do that to yourself? I don't know. How do you guys think? How do you guys think that? Because I I don't think the population is decreasing at the moment. I think we're still increasing, but only because there's so many of us. But I do think we are definitely going to start we're not growing, but what's the opposite of growing? Shrinking?
Well, here's my thought on it. I think we're running out of well, the rate at which young people are having kids isn't the same as it was. So now what we have is a fuckload of elderly, useless motherfuckers
Yeah, they can't
that
do
don't
anything.
do shit, and all they do is fucking,
run the government.
basically be customers. Well, they're basically just customers. They're just fucking. That's
Yeah,
all
they're
they
just
are anymore.
consuming.
Is just consumers, right? So they
Yeah.
don't provide anything anymore. Meanwhile, the younger people who have had kids now aren't having as many kids, so there aren't as many people in the workforce. But we have shitloads of fucking consumers because
Yep.
they won't fucking die.
Right? Like the population skyrocketed so fast, as well as medical technology
expectancy.
advanced so fast that now we have this huge older generation that isn't going anywhere for a hot minute. And none of us, we all see these old people not being able to retire and hating their lives, and we're like, why the fuck would we bring people into this situation?
I don't know. It's just a bunch of also like that generation is just a bunch of they are fucking idiot consumers too. They'll buy fucking anything.
Yeah.
So we get
know,
shittier products and more expensive prices. Yeah.
I
But
don't know.
they're always the one bitching about how everything's made in China.
Yeah.
It's like, well, quit buying it. You fucking dumb fucks.
Reals.
The
Man,
consumers have all the power. I don't understand why people are so fucking stupid when it comes to that. They're like, everything sucks now. It's like, because you keep fucking buying it. Quit buying the shit. Actually spend the money on the good shit.
Yeah.
Welcome to late stage capitalism.
For reals.
Yeah.
That's the thing though, is that even though, if they could just stop, right? Like we could all stop buying iPhones, and eventually, the Apples would stop making iPhones, but it's gonna take them, shoot, I don't know, man, 5-10 years at the earliest before they're like, okay, we get it, like you're not
I don't
buying
think it would
iPhones.
take that long.
I think it would,
if everybody
man.
just flat out
No,
stop
yeah.
buying
Well,
iPhones.
okay, yeah, if everyone did, but the problem is that you're never gonna get
Yeah,
everyone to
well,
do it.
no.
Well, yeah, because they're all a bunch of fucking idiots. Or they're lazy.
Yeah,
Usually
well,
it's laziness, it's complacency.
That's kind of what I'm getting at. Is it's the convenience factor. Like, even though you're like, yeah, if you guys just stop buying this product for 2 years, and in 2 years we'll have a much better product, but that means that for 2 years you have to go without a convenience that you're used to.
I mean, I'm not
You
saying
can
that
keep
necessarily.
your phone longer than 2 years.
I'm saying buy
That's
the
true.
better product, right? Support the companies that are like US companies that actually care about their customers and actually care about supplying a good quality product. Don't just buy what everybody else fucking buys. Like kind of like supporting smaller businesses because smaller businesses tend to care more about actually providing a service rather than making money.
Yeah.
But Nick, Tesla's an American company.
Ooh.
Yeah, but Elon Musk is a African American. So I mean he's from South Africa. so doesn't even count.
Yeah, well, even then, I don't think it.
I don't know. I also don't like Elon Musk
Well,
either.
yeah,
I
no one
am,
likes. I say no
yeah.
one. A lot of people like
I,
Elon Musk, but anyone with half a
dude,
brain cell
the
doesn't.
the Musk dick riders fucking wear me out.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, he's just a fucking like greasy billionaire, dude. He's not
Right.
a good person. Like
Well,
I don't know
No.
where everybody got this like Elon's a good person shit from, but he's not.
he's not a good
Oh
person.
no.
Did y'all see he was like his
Oh,
whole thing
I
about
also
Starlink?
yeah, it's like fucking 80% of that shit is funded by the US, UK, and Poland, like through their taxes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And he was even
yeah.
like he was bitching like somebody's gonna have to start paying for all of this, or
Yeah,
we're
acting
gonna
like
have to
he's
take
paying
it
for this
out.
shit out of pocket, little
Yeah.
fucking
I was like,
greasy
no.
dickhead.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
sucks ass.
He's
Well,
just
and
a
even his
liar,
like,
like any billionaire.
remember when he tried to do
That's why he's a billionaire.
his
Yeah.
plan for solving the war in Ukraine, and it was basically just like, yeah, Ukraine, give Russia whatever they want, stop fighting, you stupid bitches, and then the war's over. And it's like,
Hey, I mean,
what?
he's not wrong.
He's like, you're not
We
He's
wrong, but
also
not
that's
wrong.
the
we
dumbest
all saw
fucking move.
the allegations where it's like, oh, Musk is a
Musk
Russian what the fuck is that word?
spy.
Like empathizer.
Oh.
Because him and Putin talked like 3 months ago or 3 months before the
The war
war
started.
started.
I mean, I also have some
And
thoughts on
he
like that whole
and
war
he's like
situation.
and he's like he posted, he was like, "Yes, I talked to Putin. We only talked about space."
Sure.
Yeah.
So I'm not like a
Okay.
Russia sympathizer, but I'm not going to remove like all blame from like, NATO. Because the whole reason this is going on is because whenever, the USSR got fucking dismantled and shit, NATO was like, all right, well, we'll leave you alone as long as you can, leave these territories alone. And we won't expand NATO any further east than it already is. But but NATO continued to expand until it was right at fucking Russia's like front door. So it's like to say that it was unprovoked is kind of bullshit,
I mean, yeah, but then why do they got to get Ukraine involved? Like, yeah, they were
Well, because
thinking about joining
because of
NATO,
Crimea. It's
but
because of Crimea generally. It basically we gave them an excuse though. Right? Like it's not right that
yeah,
Russia's doing it. I don't think that at all. But we kind of fucking poked the bear until it finally did something. And it's like, oh well. This was such an unprovoked attack. I can't believe Russia would do this. Like it's like walking up to a bear, poking it with a stick, and then the bear fucking claws your face off, and you say, "I can't believe that bear did that."
which is what everyone does,
Like it's so fucking stupid.
How
right?
could a wild animal rip somebody's face off when they
It
walk
was
right
so
up to 'em and
peaceful
poke
while it
them
was
with a stick?
sitting
Completely
there.
unprovoked. I didn't do anything.
I didn't touch the bear.
I mean, yeah,
Says
but
with a
this
stick
we
in
can
hand.
tie this back into the whole getting vasectomies. Why should Russia have anything to do with what Ukraine's trying to do? Like, if Ukraine wants
It's
to
just
join
because
Russia, join
Ukraine.
NATO, they can do whatever the fuck they want.
Well, the whole thing is Ukraine was trying to join NATO, and that would really put a damper on Russia's operations because during the wintertime, the only port that's accessible for Russia to do any kind of trading
Ukraine.
is in Crimea in Ukraine.
Right.
So if NATO takes control of Ukraine, then NATO controls that port, and Russia is basically fucked. If Russia is then NATO's bitch, essentially.
Mm.
Like Russia has like they can't. I mean, if NATO says to do something, they can, and Russia says no, and they say, okay, well, you can't use the port of Crimea now.
Yeah, I mean, sucks to
So
suck.
just
Should have been born somewhere warmer. I don't know what to tell you.
Should have just settled
I have-
in the fucking tundra.
I have an idea, guys. Let's take Russia and push it somewhere else.
Exactly. If we push Russia, I'm trying to think of a landmass that's not.
South,
Yeah, south, I guess.
just south.
Just push it into
Just push
China.
the whole
That's
thing
fine.
into the Mediterranean Sea, just really compact it in there, and then we're good.
Just
Hey.
push it all down.
I mean, we could just move Japan out of the way and make a little more room.
Yeah, who needs it?
Yeah, Japan's
us-
tiny, anyways.
Push
Yeah.
Australia a little bit further south.
Oh, dude,
Say,
just
am I helping with
meshed
that?
Australia and Japan together, right?
Oh
Like
God.
just like squeeze the islands
Japstralia?
together. Dude, could you imagine what that would be like, the product of that
It
fucking conjoining?
would.
Jesus Christ, you have kawaii as fuck good eye mites fucking running all around.
God damn. That would be great.
Fucking
Pan?
Now I want a Japanese Australian like.
what do they call kangaroos? Wallabies? It's
No,
Wallaby-chan.
Wallaby.
Well,
A
wallabies are
kangaroo is
the
a
other
fucking
ones.
kangaroo.
No, there's a fucking
No, they
slang
call
for
them
a kangaroo.
something. Yeah.
A roo?
Yeah, that's one of them,
Uh,
but there's something
yeah.
else. I don't fucking
Fuck.
remember. I haven't
I don't know.
never been to Australia, couldn't tell you. But
I don't know, I'm gonna
Same.
Google it. I'm gonna figure this shit out real
but
quick.
no, that would be a fucking great mash of cultures. Australian and
Bro.
Japanese. Oh my god, that would be awesome. Even like I feel like if you just took Japan and mashed it with any other culture, you would just get some real weird shit. Like, could you imagine a? I mean, no, actually, never mind. I was gonna say, could you imagine an American Japanese? But I've met some weeaboos.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
Yeah.
Dude, the fucking people who will like do anime shit in real life, that shit's so fucking cringe.
Oh, what do you
I'm like,
mean? It's
stop,
great.
bro.
What are you talking about? It's
The dudes who
awesome.
act like they're in an anime. It's
Okay,
like they
yeah, that's a
talk
little
like a
cringe,
fucking
but
protagonist. I'm like, stop
yeah,
it.
anyone
Stop.
that actually uses like senpai unironically is just like, ugh. All
No,
right.
it's like the dude, like he'll be getting bullied, but he looks at the bully and he's like, "You underestimate my power. Back away now." It's
No,
like,
no, there's the classic,
I have the power
God,
of
an anime on my side,
my
yeah.
side.
yeah.
Which I would have been intimidated if that kid came running at me. So like,
Same. That kid seems like he fucks.
I don't know. It's just the
Oh, man, he fucks hard.
probably where that kid is now. But he's probably just absolutely drowning in bitches, you know.
What other fucking social media drama's been going on? That's just been popping lately.
I mean, other than the
Oh,
Kanye shit.
Oh yeah, what happened with that? You still never
So
like tell me about it. I'm curious.
So basically, I don't remember exactly what happened. Well, I have okay. So here's the tweet that everybody refers to. He woke up and he said, his tweet, quote, "I'm a bit sleepy tonight, but when I wake up, I'm going DEFCON 3 on Jewish people. The funny thing is, I actually can't be anti-Semitic because black people are actually Jew also. You guys have toyed with me and tried to blackball anyone who ever opposes your agenda." So that was in response to him. I don't remember what the other tweet was, but he was being like, yeah, there's, people are constantly being told what to do and being told who to go after by this mysterious group of people. And then he's basically just confirming he was talking about Jewish people.
Oh,
He also misspelled DEFCON, so that's fun.
I mean, it seemed like he was like kind of making the point of like how some people will say, "Oh, black people can't be racist," and so he's out here like, "Hey, watch."
Man, I don't know.
Hold my beer.
Like, if you're reading just that tweet, yeah, but man, I wish I could find the other one. I don't remember what his original tweet was.
Fucking anti-Semitic Kanye sounds hilarious as fuck.
It does sound pretty funny, but also like
also like kind of dangerous.
extremely dangerous, man.
Yeah, he has some influence.
Dude,
I'm kind of
he's
worried.
got
We have
fucking
dude. We just gotta watch his facial hair, dude. If he starts fucking growing a little fucking shorty stash, dog, oh, we might have to make some changes. Maybe an intervention for Kanye.
But he's just like going off on fucking Jewish people. Like, in what situation would you ever need to go DEFCON 3? Which, keep in mind, I don't think he realizes what he's saying then, because isn't DEFCON 3 like normal?
It's
Isn't
like
it like
medium.
Yeah, isn't
It's
like
like there's
DEFCON
like
1?
5 levels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like he's not even like yeah, I think he thinks it's a bigger thing than it is.
Said DEFCON 6, then
yeah, they're like, oh shit.
Real trouble.
Well, but isn't it get stronger the lower it goes, like golf scores? So DEFCON 1 is the worst, or is it the other direction?
So. I think it's the other direction.
The other direction, okay. Well, I don't fucking know.
DEFCON 5 is like where you start getting into oh shit.
Yeah, he spelled it Death Con, like DEATH Con.
Oh yeah, that's not right.
I don't know if he
Yeah,
did
no,
that
it's Def.
intentionally or he just didn't realize it's deaf with a, DEF.
He
I
probably
mean,
he probably didn't.
it's Kanye.
It's Kanye.
Kanye.
I
But
really
I mean,
can't expect
that's the
too
thing though,
much.
is everyone's like, "Oh, it's just Kanye," he's admitted to
Mhm.
having mental problems. Then why the fuck are we letting him tweet this shit with millions of followers?
Well, I think he should be allowed to say whatever he wants personally, but people should be smart enough to not listen.
But people
Yeah.
aren't smart enough to not listen is the issue.
I know. They should be,
Like
but they're not.
I'm also like I'm so on the fence of freedom of speech because yeah, you should be able to say whatever you want, but also when you're tweeting to millions of people who think you're God basically.
Think you're Jesus.
Hey
Yeah,
man,
like
with great power comes great
and he
responsibility, all
has
right?
no responsibilities, so
I mean, yeah. Hey.
I don't know,
I
man.
kind of want to let it like I want true freedom to a degree, right? Like I want people to be able to say whatever they want. If they want to say like fucking racial slurs and shit, go for it, but you have to be ready for the repercussions, right? Like
Yeah.
if you say some shit and it pisses somebody off and they fucking smack you in the fucking mouth,
Yeah.
then that's just what fucking happens.
Well, it's
You
like,
just gotta accept
people
that that's what
say
happens.
that freedom of speech is to protect you from the government, not to protect you from other people. Like the government shouldn't be able to tell you what you can and cannot say, but other people
Facts.
are allowed to react in whatever way they want.
Facts.
Yeah.
So
That's kind of what I want. Like, if somebody's like, "Hey, what's up, motherfucker?" and you're like, "Suck my dick, you bitch," and that's just fine.
but so then would you be okay with, say, Twitter made a thing and they were like, "Hey, the second you log onto the app, it's like, vote yes or no. Do you think Kanye should be allowed to use Twitter? Yes or no. Has he offended you?" And everyone in the world that uses Twitter gets to vote on it. If they all voted no, would you be okay with him being banned permanently from Twitter?
Yeah, majority rules. Fuck him.
Democratic.
Because I mean, that's kind of like he
If it's
said
on
what
a
he wanted
voting
to
system,
say,
dude,
and everyone else
I
fucking
don't give a
hated it.
shit. Yeah, if it's on a voting system and majority rules, dude, that's just fucking democracy right there. I don't give a shit then.
Yo.
Even if it is like against what I believe, right? Like even if it's like if that's majority rules around here, dude. That's how voting
Fair
works.
enough.
Right? True democracy.
We don't That's why it's kind of like funny like we like pander to some minority groups occasionally, and I'm like that's weird because like that's not how democracy generally works, but
Yeah, the
I mean
minority in democracy really has no say.
which is a good thing that we do, right?
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's bad that we pander to minorities sometimes, right? Like that's I don't want to get it
See,
misconstrued.
now you're
But
blowing
it's
my
just
mind.
interesting.
Now you're blowing my mind because you basically just confirmed for me that democracy is inherently racist.
Yeah.
Because if
Basically.
democracy is only what the majority wants, right?
I wouldn't say it's inherently racist.
No,
Look what I've
I would say
started.
Democracy
it's
is Satan.
inherently biased.
Yeah, that's fair.
Democracy
That's
democracy panders to the vast majority, which is how it should be in most cases. But whenever it's in terms of like civil rights and shit, then it's like okay, sometimes we have to make exceptions so one small group of people isn't getting fucked.
fair. Yeah. Man, I don't know. Government's way too complicated.
Oh, I saw another funny Twitter thing that happened.
Yeah, funny Twitter shit. My favorite.
So celebrities get paid to like post ads basically on Twitter a lot of
Mhm.
times.
Yeah.
And so there's a big string of Gal Gadot like promoting Huawei ads.
Oh yeah,
the
I heard about
phone?
this thing.
And
Yeah.
Marquise Browley, he's a big tech YouTuber.
Yeah, Marquez Brownlee, dude, that's my guy.
Yeah, he tweeted at Gal Gadot and he said, "I think it's funny how you're promoting Huawei from an iPhone."
Oh yeah, because every one of her tweets kept
Every
saying
one of her Huawei ads said, tweeted from
tweeted
my
from my
iPhone.
Yeah, that's kind of funny.
And Huawei reached out to him. They were like, "Oh, this must be a mistake. I don't know how this happened."
Well, they were like, "How did you
there's a
know?
glitch with
How did you
Twitter."
see this?"
Yeah, it's like that's in the data. Like it
It's just a
shows
feature,
it under
dude.
every. It's the feature of Twitter. It's like it's not gonna make a mistake. It's not gonna think you're using an iPhone if you're tweeting from a Huawei. It'll say tweeted from Android.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, man,
So
that
that's
you think?
Yaldo
fucking
blocked
hilarious.
him. Huawei like
Yeah.
tried to get him to like pull the tweet down. He was like,
It's
"Nah."
like, nah, dude. That's kind of funny, yeah.
It is very funny. I was
Well,
like, "That's great."
that makes me think that Huawei is ripping off fucking Gal Gadot. If they're asking her to promote, they should send her a free phone. What the fuck?
Well,
I
I'm sure they
imagine. What if?
do, but
And
Yeah,
she
I don't
chose
think
not
she
to use it.
uses them.
Yeah.
yeah,
Dude,
Yeah.
I guarantee
Huawei
she
phones
doesn't use
suck
them.
ass, alright?
Well,
So I don't
yes.
blame her.
I don't think I've ever actually fucking like seen one.
I mean, they just look like Android phones, but they're pretty cheaply made, and
Chinese
they're all,
and
yeah,
shit.
Yeah,
they're
they're cheapy. Like you can
just
buy
not
like
good.
their flagship for like $600.
Yeah.
Well, because you know the Chinese don't know how to make a good product.
Well, man, did y'all
It's all about
hear?
them Koreans.
I think there
I
was
don't know. Their
something.
cars kind of suck.
Wait, but their phones are good.
True.
Samsung, baby.
I think
Yeah.
there was
Korea.
something about the Chinese president being
Korea.
escorted out of Congress, like earlier today.
Really?
Yeah.
Get
I don't know what
fucked,
for though.
you commie bastard.
It just says no explanation has been given why he was escorted out of Congress.
Ooh, another thing, because I don't care about.
Oh, he was the former
Chinese
president.
government.
Lame. All right.
Did y'all see where they unreleased the NVIDIA RTX 4080 12 gig?
No.
So when they announced all of the 4080 cards, they announced a 4080 12 gig, a 4080 16 gig, and then the 4090, which I think is like a 24 or 30 gig card. But everybody backlashed and they were like, it is the most ignorant thing for y'all to release two completely different cards under the same name scheme and only say 12 gig or 16 gig instead of releasing it as like the 47 or the 4080 12 gig should be the 4070 because it has less cores, it has less memory, it has less speed, but it's released as a 4080. So they were like, no, that's that's false advertising. That's not a 4080, that's a 4070. And so Nvidia went back and unreleased it.
What?
Way to go, nerds. Way to go.
Well, so
You're getting your
question.
shit fucking delayed.
So they unreleased the cheaper card.
God
They
damn
kept
it, you
the 4080
fucking
16
bitches.
gig, which is I think they put
know-
MSRP at like $1,200.
Yeah.
You know, I hate to agree with Jeremy right now, but I think maybe freedom of speech is too powerful. Maybe we do need to remove it for some of these motherfuckers.
But like,
Right.
so is there also a 2070 that they released?
No,
Or
I
that
don't
they're
think they
planning
released
on
that yet.
releasing?
They're planning on it, but at their first launch, they announced the 4080 12 gig, the 4080 16 gig, and then the 4090 24 or 30 whatever gig it was. But yeah, then like a few weeks after they announced it, everybody was all huffy puffy because that's not a 48. Why are they both 4080s? And so Nvidia was like, okay, we'll take away the cheaper card. We'll just sell the
now
more
you're stuck with the
expensive
expensive
one.
one. Yeah, bitches.
Well, because the 4080 12 gig was MSRP'd at like $899, and the 16 gig was MSRP'd at like $1199.
Damn.
Yeah, I don't know, man. What?
Damn.
That just seems
But
like
hey, I could finally buy a 3080 if I wanted to.
if
Or
like they're
actually a
gonna be
3080
available.
Ti. No, I can order one off of Best Buy right now, and they will actually ship it to me.
Okay.
I mean, it was like a 2-week lead time.
Yeah, that's not
But
bad
it
though,
actually,
considering the
but
4-year
can
lead time it
actually-
has been.
You can actually order it versus like for the last 2 fucking years, it just says sold out
Yeah.
or not available.
Yeah.
So I could actually hit add to cart and pay for it and get it in a little bit.
Man, see, yeah, because
But
like Why are
So
people complaining about a cheaper option just because it has a
yeah.
stupid name? Like,
Dude, that's what I was saying. That's what I'm saying. Like these motherfuckers out here getting all wrapped up on the name, and I'm like, shut the fuck up. They're releasing
shut
shit.
up. Yeah.
Right. But so the thing is, so on the 30 series, Best Buy was their Founders Edition retailer. So Best Buy is the only place you can buy the factory cards from, the Nvidia factory cards, not the aftermarket cards from like MSI or EVGA or whatever. I wanted a 3080.
Why?
They because it's
Dank.
bonkers.
Yeah, but
Because it can run two
Wow.
different versions of Red Dead Redemption 2 at the same time, alright?
Yes.
Actually,
it
probably
just
couldn't,
cracks
but...
me up. 'Cause
Anyways,
how much? Because how much gaming do you do?
not that much, but I want it. I want another one of the monitors I have. So, but anyways, I wanted the 3080 when they first announced it.
Yeah.
Now that I can actually order them, they do not have them on their website. The
What about
the entire
3090s though?
product. They've got 3090s and they've got 3080 Ti's and they have 3070 Ti's. But they don't have just a 3080 anymore.
Yeah. I don't
They
know,
took
man.
it
We're
completely off the website. So
we're
I could order a
getting-
3080 Ti right now.
Yeah, but who knows if you'll ever get it.
Wait, why?
It's got a lead
why-
time on it.
Why don't you want the Ti or the 3090?
Well, because it's like $200 more expensive. The Ti is like $200 more expensive than the 3080. Because the 3080 MSRP'd at $699, but the 3090 is, or the 3080 Ti is MSRP'd at like $899.
Is the Ti not that not like $200 worth better?
No,
No.
they never are. They're a
That-
half step.
See, that's my whole
What?
argument
Or
with all of
TIs was
these.
badass.
That's my whole argument with all of these, is that we're getting so close to there being no difference in these
Let me just say,
chips.
technological advancement has come so far
okay,
that
but-
the margins have grown tiny.
Yeah, see, we used to be under Murphy's Law when it became, I think it's Murphy's Law, when it came to technological advancement, which said every year the amount of processors we could fit onto a chip would double. And it might not have been a year, it might have been something else. Basically, like, you know, we were advancing so fast,
Exponentially.
right? Just so fast. And now they haven't confirmed it, but all of the, like, not data scientists, but just like any kind of researchers into computers is starting to think like, oh, this law may no longer be applicable. We may not be able to fit
we have
more.
we may
Yeah.
have reached the
Hit
point
our
where
peak.
returns are worse than
The law of diminishing returns.
Exactly. So it's like I feel like unless we have some huge fucking, you know, technological advancement in the next couple of years, we're going to get to the point that everything is just the exact same. They're going to release a new edition of something and it might be like 1% faster or something, you know. And everyone's going to be flipping shit about it.
Like, holy fuck, they were actually able to make it better?
Like 1%, that's
Yo.
huge. And you're like, what? Like, that's tiny as fuck.
But like the 3080 Ti is faster, but to me it's not worth the $200 jump.
Yeah.
The 3080 was gonna be plenty fucking like I'm on a 1070 Ti. Like this card is 6 years old at this point.
Yeah, I'm on a 2060 in my laptop.
So I
Yeah.
think I'm still on a
And so-
2070 Super. Let's go.
Yeah, and so my card still works. It still runs games good, but
Runs game's good.
Well, that's the other thing, is that I feel like gaming is a very bad benchmark test. Because even though, yeah, gaming is pretty demanding, they build games to run on potatoes. Like, they, for the most part, will design a game with the thought of this needs to work on any piece of software it's booted on. Doesn't matter what it is. So it's like,
have you ever played any Call of Duty on PC?
okay, but well, that's the other thing is that those are just
Ark
poorly.
Survival Evolved.
Those are just
Ark,
poorly optimized games. Like, they're just bad at running. Even
Okay,
on
but if a
even on a
AAA
3080 Ti,
company-
it runs like Dookie. So,
But if a AAA company can't make a game to run on a potato, you what? How are you going to say that they designed games to run on potatoes?
because dude, Call of Duty doesn't count. Call of Duty's a piece of shit. They have so much money, they don't give a fuck how their games play. They're just like,
I mean, that is facts.
people will buy it. Who gives a fuck? Just pump it out. Start work on the next 4. We have more to make. Like,
My
So-
favorite.
those are just terrible fucking examples, Brandon. A better example would have been Red Dead Redemption, which is a fucking amazing
great.
game. Runs beautiful on better cards,
Yeah.
but
Dude, it's a
really
great
bogs
game,
down
too.
old cards. Really bogs them down.
It ran really good on mine. The only thing I had was running out of memory, like graphical memory.
Yeah. Well, but even then, kind of to wrap it back into what I was saying is that like my 2070 Super, which is 3 years old, 4 years old, I have yet to find a game it cannot run, as good as I want it to run. Like solid 60 FPS, usually higher. Like 60 FPS is the bare minimum. Ultra graphics, ultra everything, and it runs it like butter. So like, is it even worth going after these new cards when what we have now runs everything fine?
Well, so my deal is not even so much as I want to buy this card and install it today, because I need to build a new computer if I want to have that card and use it to its full capacity.
Yeah.
It's that this card is 6 years old. How much more time am I going to get out of it? And what graphics card generation is going to be as well priced for the performance as the 30 series cards?
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Because the 20 series cards were way overpriced for what they delivered, and so they made up for it, and the 30 series cards were cheap for what they delivered, because they
Yep.
delivered like hellacious performance, but and then now the 40 series, they're priced like the 20 series was.
Yeah.
Now, granted, they do have more performance. They have the performance to probably back up that price tag, but there's not going to be another generation of NVIDIA graphics cards that do what the 30 series are doing
Yep, that's fair.
for that price. Stock price, MSRP price, not fucking what everybody was scalping them for.
Yeah.
Because I refused to buy one for fucking $1,200 when everybody was scalping them.
Dude, that's still
Yeah, fuck
crazy to
that.
me that like PS5s are still so hard to get and they're 2 years old now and they're still
Yeah.
I mean, they're starting to like get into stock at places, but for the most part they're still pretty rare.
Speaking of Sony, apparently they're getting sued for like $6 billion.
Oh yeah. For what? I mean,
Yeah.
I knew there was
For
that suing for, was it the PS3? That class
no,
action?
they're basically, this is like someone is claiming that they hold a monopoly on their PlayStation Network, like
Oh, the store or whatever.
yeah, store, because PlayStation gets 30% of any sale made on the PlayStation Network store. Whereas on like other platforms, they've gone away from this, where they still get like 30%, but you can buy like codes for games instead of actually having to buy straight through PlayStation. Or like Xbox or the Switch or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, that's always kind of been the case. Like even
Well, that's why like PlayStation games on the PlayStation Network are like 120 bucks as opposed to
What
fucking
the-
60.
yeah. Well, even
But it
Yeah.
like
also-
Steam, their cuts pretty high. And
Yeah.
that was one of Epic Games' like selling points to get, and why they still get so many exclusives is because their cut is a lot smaller than most.
Yeah. But yeah, basically, someone's claiming that Sony has a monopoly on their own thing, and yeah, so they're suing them for a fuckload of money.
Yeah. And I mean, I guess I don't know, they kind of do, but it's, it's their machine. Like they made it.
Yeah.
So there part of me is like, "Oh, they should have the right to do whatever the fuck they want with their own machine they're making." But
Yeah.
you could then say they've got the monopoly on consoles, like them and Microsoft. Those are really the only two well, Nintendo, but the big three console makers. Anyone else that tries to launch a console fails miserably because nobody's going to buy a console that's not a Sony, a Microsoft, or a Nintendo.
True.
Okay, so this brings it back to the iPhone Android discussion of, well, they've got a monopoly on like phone service things because Windows tried to break into it and utterly failed.
Yeah,
And Windows is a huge company.
yeah.
Microsoft.
Yeah. With the Windows Phone.
The
That was a
Windows. That
freaking
was
turd.
Windows Phone and Windows 8.
Well,
Oh, God.
Microsoft is actually pulling it off with the Google Pixel.
Well, but yeah,
That's not
but that's just because they
that's
bought Google.
What?
Didn't they buy Alphabet?
Yeah, I thought
Did they?
Google was owned by
Pretty
Microsoft.
sure Microsoft
Did-
bought Alphabet.
What?
Could be making that up. Does
I'm
Microsoft
pretty sure you
own
made.
Alphabet?
Oh no,
Maybe
they're
not.
different.
Okay, no.
Oh yeah. I could have swore Google was part of Microsoft. I guess that damn, that kind
No.
of fucks me up.
No, Google
See, I
is.
thought they were
That's why
too, but
fucking Pixel uses Android.
Yeah.
Google owns Android.
yeah, I knew that.
Google is Android.
Yeah, they
Oh,
make the
dude,
kits for it.
the fucking Windows Phone used Windows, didn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
What
That's
a
why it was a
fucking
Windows
turd!
Phone.
Yeah, that
What a
sucked
piece of
ass.
shit!
And it was supposed to tie in
supposed
with
to
Windows
tag
8,
along.
and it
Yeah,
sucked
and Windows 8
dick.
was a flop.
Oh yeah, Windows 8 was. I mean, even now, whenever we have Windows fucking 11, it's kind of meh.
Yeah. I
I'm-
don't actually know if
I'm
I've even
sticking with
upgraded to Windows 11.
I am sticking with Windows 10 until they stop supporting it.
That's gonna be a
It's like-
hot
I
minute.
don't know.
It's
gonna
like
be a
I did
while.
with freaking Windows 7.
I don't mind Windows 11, honestly. It's basically the same thing.
Yeah. That's the thing is, at this point, it's like, there used to be huge changes. When you went from one version to the next, it was massive differences. But at this point, we're kind of moving into the, like, what's it fucking called? It's like service scope or some shit. I don't know. But instead of releasing one giant upgrade that replaces everything, you just do small updates every month, and it changes slowly over time. And so now, eventually, I think we're just going to get Windows OS. And that's it.
Yeah.
They're not going to have any huge releases
Well-
for Windows 12. It's just, this is Windows OS, latest update.
Well, it's kind of like Mac OS.
Yeah.
iOS.
They release a new version. It's a different state park name every time.
Yeah.
But it's been the same thing since color displays were a thing. It's been the same thing. And
Yeah,
it's never really changed.
and that's one of the things with, like, everyone that's so obsessed with Apple phones and Macs and all that. It's like even their major update changes where they barely changed anything. Like they added in the 5 generations back Android key feature. They added that in. They're like, it's the newest. And you're like,
yeah.
what?
Yeah, no, it everything is fucking derivative. There's
Yeah.
no new things
Honestly.
other than creative things.
Well, I kind of want to get your guys' opinion on this other drama that was going on these past couple of weeks. Did you guys hear about the whole Bayonetta 3 drama going on?
No.
No.
So basically, the whole thing was the voice actor that has voiced Bayonetta and I think all the other Bayonetta entries, like tweeted. She was like, "Yeah, I'm not going to be voicing Bayonetta in the new Bayonetta because they only offered me $4,000. And so everyone's upset, because $4,000, what the fuck? That's not a whole lot of money. Um, and everyone, sparked this whole big debate about like voice actors who are, I will say, criminally underpaid for the work they do.
Oh yeah, voice actors don't get paid
Yeah, they don't
shit.
get paid jack shit. So, but then it kind of came out that they offered her $4,000 per session for like 5 sessions or something, and a session is like 4 hours. So they were basically giving her like $20,000 for 20 hours of work.
Bro, you making $1,000 an hour and you're
Yeah,
bitching?
and so then everyone else was like, "Oh, okay. Well, now it just seems like she was throwing a hissy fit on Twitter,
Hacks.
using everyone's pre-biased opinions that voice actors don't get paid enough to try to get a bigger wage out of Nintendo." And so, basically my question to y'all is that do you think that voice actors deserve that much money? Because again, it's like $1,000 an hour. That's quite a bit of money.
So I think it depends on how much revenue the actual like product brings in. Because if you had a part in that
So
service
you
and
think
it
they
brings in a
should
shitload of
negotiate
revenue, then
royalties?
So
basically.
this is I've got a perfect fucking example of this. NBA versus the WNBA.
Yeah, but women are bad at sports, Brandon.
That doesn't fucking matter. Everybody like
Well,
I'm
that's
sorry,
I
why
saw
nobody watches
I'm
them.
joking.
I saw a whole ass fucking video about it. Of It's one of those guys who just like on the sidewalk and he like just goes up and asks people fucking questions. But he went up to a group, like it was a bunch. He was like going up to different groups of girls, and he was like, "Do you believe that athletes in the WNBA should make as much as athletes in the NBA?" And every single one of them said yes. And so directly after they said yes, he was like, "Oh, who's your favorite? Or what's your favorite team?" He
Yeah,
didn't
it
even say
was.
who's your favorite. He said, "What's your favorite team?" And every single one of them said, well, I don't watch it."
Yeah,
And so he was like, "So they should make the same amount, even though you admitted, and I've had 80 other people today admit that they don't watch it. But I could guarantee you watch the NBA, don't you?" And they were like, "Yeah." It's like, point proven.
Mm.
So it depends on the demand for it
Yeah,
and
Right.
how popular it is and how, dude, there's a bunch of factors that go in it, but like it's the same deal as that of, well, 10 billion people are going to watch this versus 500,000 people are going to watch this.
yeah, which that's fair, and it's like because it is entertainment. The money they make should really be based on how popular the entertainment is, right? Or like
Yeah.
how much money it generates. And I think really the only reason people start throwing a fit about that is because you're throwing genders on it, right? And so then they're like, "Oh, the
Yeah.
women get paid less." You're like, "Yeah, they do in these situations. You're right, and a lot of times they should be getting paid the same, but it just doesn't pull as much of a crowd. It doesn't pull as much of a following. So
Well,
if the
a good
company doesn't
example
make
of
as
this
much money,
too was a good example of that specific scenario, girls versus boys and the wage thing was what's her name from the UFC, the fucking one who got knocked out and she went to the
Rhonda,
WWE. Yeah, Ronda Rousey. She was like she was doing like a press conference and one of the people asked her, she was like, "Hey, what do you feel about the wage gap in the UFC and you being one of the highest paid? Are you appreciative of that?" And she's like, "Well, I bring in the most money, so I get paid the most." She's
yeah.
like, "If my other female counterparts are complaining about pay, bring in more money and you'll get paid more." And I was like,
So
damn. Just shitted on all of her fellow fucking
Oof.
females.
Yeah.
so I've got some figures to back up that what I was talking about.
All right, let's hear.
So the NBA during the 2020/2021 season all 30 NBA teams combined generated revenues of about $6.41 billion.
Ugh.
So,
Damn, we make more than that at IBM in a quarter, or well, yeah, in a quarter.
Yeah, but you also work
So-
every single day of the week, and they play one game a week.
That's
So-
nuts that many people watch basketball. It makes that much fucking
Right?
money. God
Basketball's
damn.
lame as
Take-
fuck.
take a guess what the WNBA generates a year.
I'm gonna
Let
be
me guess.
generous. I'm gonna say 20 billion.
250.
The
250K.
250K? No, it's more
Thousand?
than that.
They wouldn't
But,
be afloat.
Jeremy, how much did you say?
20 billion.
So they generate almost 4 times what the NBA does?
Didn't you say the NBA was 60
No.
billion?
No, the NBA is 6.41
Oh,
billion.
okay. I thought you said 60 billion. No, okay.
I'm gonna guess 20 milli.
Yeah, I'd say more than that. I'd say in the hundreds of millions.
Nope, 60 milli.
Really?
Ah, damn.
So,
That is
less
fucking like what is that? Like
Oh, 1%?
6,000% less?
Yeah.
Or
It's
something
like
crazy.
yeah.
it's 1% of what the NBA makes.
Yeah. But so let me
I
throw
think
this
that's how
at
the
you
math
though.
works.
Let me throw this at you guys. Do you think that if the WNBA threw as much money at their advertising and their setups and their teams as the NBA does, do you think it would become as popular? Or do you think it's
No.
solely because that nobody wants to watch women's basketball that it is where it is?
I'll be honest, just watching women do sports is generally fucking agonizing.
I was actually
To me.
say the opposite.
I do not like watching women's sports because they usually are less coordinated, less fast, strong, and like every respect worse than men are
Yeah,
at sports.
couldn't
Just
that
because
be
of fucking
caused?
genetics, though.
Couldn't that be caused by the guys that do basketball professionally? They get paid so much money they can afford the best trainers and the best foods and the best their teams have
Nah,
whatever the shit, and
no,
so
they
they're
took a
just
bunch
better.
of they took a professional team of female soccer players, professional, not like fucking pro-am, like professional soccer players, all female, and then put them up against like teenage boys that just were like regular high school kids,
Like
and
a
they
high school
fucking
team.
stomped them. They absolutely fucking destroyed them because men genetically are just fucking better at that type of shit.
Yeah.
I don't know why people want to fucking like a lot of people will fucking like want to argue genetics, but like genetically we were fucking predisposed to be better at this type of shit. That's why it's like kind of boring to watch like women do it.
Right. Well, that's why I would kind of say that the argument about wage gaps in like sports is kind of stupid, but the argument of wage gaps in any other field has some value to it. So
I mean, at the same time, if women are getting paid more, why aren't they getting hired more? Right? Like, because if they're cheaper to employ, then why don't you just employ all women?
because it's a bunch of dudes employing.
Yeah, but fuck, they all want to make money.
Dudes don't like the women's. We're all secretly gay.
I just think it's kind of, I don't know. I think a lot of the whole like discussion on like wage gap and shit like that is completely unwarranted, and I think it's ridiculous for the most part.
I think it's just
'Cause-
got kind of blown out of proportion a little bit because
Yeah,
there's
that's
no
what
other
I
way to
think,
make
yeah.
people listen. Like, I do think that it exists in a lot of places, in most places. It might not be as extreme as people think it is, and in a lot of places it might be justified, but it shouldn't. But even if there's like 10% of the world, that pays, there's some asshole manager that's like, she's a woman, she can't do it as good, less money.
Yeah,
Then it's fuck that.
yeah, that's. I'm sure that's the thing. Like, where dudes are just fucking assholes,
Yeah.
right? But that's an exception. That's not really the rule, you know.
I mean, yeah, that's fair, but but that's why I think it gets so blown out of proportion, is because if no one thinks it's a huge deal, nothing's going to get done about it.
Oh yeah, because I mean, it's it's an issue, but it's not like we have bigger problems, to be honest. I
It depends.
don't know. There's some merit to it, right? But there's also merit to the idea like women also don't choose jobs that like are very physically demanding and pay really high, right? Like they generally take inside jobs or like, they want to be caretakers, nurses,
I
shit like
fucking
that. But
wish.
like
But it's
God.
most construction workers are men.
Yeah,
Like
that's
most
true.
people who have built the infrastructure for America are men.
That's true.
So
But also, construction work sucks dick, so I understand why no women want to get into it.
yeah, but if they want equality in the workplace, motherfucker, here you go. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
and that's one of the big things that like people argue against like equality in the workplace, blah 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 blah, is because women are only seeking equality in positions of power.
Yeah, they're cherry picking.
They're not going for equality in everything.
Mm,
They're
Yeah,
not
no.
going for so
I
you're
think a
saying
lot
that
are.
50% are they?
Yeah.
No, there's only like 5% of like construction workers are women, and 5% of like any kind of manual labor job or like it's only like
So you're
5%.
saying that women are fighting to have 50% representation in masonry work. They're fighting to
No.
have 50% representation in concrete
Well, see, I
work.
think that's where it kind of falls apart is because I don't the logical ones that are asking for they're not asking for equal representation, they're asking for equal opportunities. They should have the same amount of chance to if they want to do masonry work, they should have just as much chance to get into it as anybody else, right? But a lot of people a lot of construction workers, not even the bosses, like even just the people actually doing the work, they don't respect women in that job at all. Like
Well,
they see a woman, they immediately go, "Man, she can't do it. I have to double check all her work."
and a lot of times that's kind of true. Like
Oh, I have to
we
double check
have
everybody's work. It doesn't matter.
Well, yeah,
we
but
have kind of a issue like sometimes at work where some people can't lift some of the shit we have to pick up
yeah,
because it's too heavy, right?
yeah, that's
And
fair.
that to me irritates the fuck out of me, right? Because I'm like, okay, now I have to do more work because this person can't do their fucking job. Like they don't meet the requirements yet they were given this job anyways.
Yeah,
And that
but
shit fucking
that's
irritates the
not
piss out of me.
even like in my line of
Well,
work
it's
as an
equal opportunity,
electrician.
right?
Yeah,
Equal
but
opportunity doesn't mean you're gonna get the
yeah,
position
yeah,
though,
no,
right? Just
absolutely.
you have the opportunity to, but if you're not strong enough, if you can't endure or you have like an issue performing, then
Yeah, but now
don't
let me ask
expect
you
to
this
still get
though:
it.
how many old ass white dudes do you see working construction? A bunch,
Too too fucking
Yeah.
tons,
many. Too
and
fucking
they
many.
can't
What are
lift
you
half
talking
this
about?
shit,
Old ass white dudes.
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
any other
Dude, yeah.
ethnicity, really.
There's not an exception to this rule, right? Like
Yeah,
these motherfuckers need to get the fuck out of there
but that's
too.
where I'm
Like I'm
throwing
tired of
is.
these old white motherfuckers taking jobs from the younger people too.
But that's what I'm
That's
saying
fucking
is
irritating.
I know a bunch of employers that if they had two candidates that were equally, you know,
Yeah.
all their stuff was
I
the same, but one was a woman and one was an old white man, they would hire the old white man every single time, even though
Yeah, yeah.
he physically can't do the work.
Which there's some merit to that, which is really fucking irritating, right? And I don't agree with that. That's fucked. Like, and that happens a lot. Like, that's kind of a thing that's more prominent in like rural areas too.
Yeah. Which so that's the thing I'm getting at is that it might not necessarily be, that they're just going, women suck ass, we can't have the women, but they still hire men that can't do the job. So that argument kind of falls apart that it should be and it I agree that it should be you should look at a candidate for a job entirely based on if they can do the work and how well they can do the work.
Yeah.
And physical attributes have a lot to play in that, but I don't necessarily think you should just straight up go women, nope, too weak. Like there should be a
Yeah.
way to dip like because there are a lot of women that can do way more work than I can. Like so
Yeah, yeah.
it's kind of hard to like pick out that you're not taking them because they just physically can't do the work or you're not taking them because they're a woman.
And there like you say, there are a lot of women who are a lot stronger than a lot of guys I know. Granted, I mean, I don't think that's really like, you know, standard. That's more so kind of a
Outlier.
outlier, but like
Well, yeah.
it is still a thing that happens, right? And I think jobs should be given based on merit, not fucking because you know them or like the person who's interviewing or something is biased, which does still happen.
Yeah.
Like fucking nepotism drives me fucking insane, dude.
Yeah.
People who get jobs just
yeah.
because they like have a family member there, I'm like, okay, fuck off. Your cousin's fucking sister-in-law fucking sucks ass at this job, dude. Let's fucking get rid of her
Yeah.
or
So,
him or whoever, you know.
I don't know. I just think it's way too complicated to be truly unbiased. Like I don't think it's even possible for any person to be completely unbiased. But it's
I mean,
Well, because and it's not
if
even
you-
that. Like, there are bad biases, of course,
yeah.
but as a hiring manager, you have to be biased to the job position you're trying to hire for. So you can never be unbiased in your interviews. You have to be biased towards, is this person going to do a good job in this position?
well, yeah, but that's not a bias, Brandon.
What
Well,
is
what
it then?
fucks
A
me up is
bias
like,
is you have a predetermined, like
The job
feeling
role is
against something.
predetermined, right?
Well, yeah, but if
It is
you
technically a bias.
well, but what I'm
You have to
saying
be
is,
biased towards somebody
yeah,
that can do the job. And I'm not saying that like, oh, e- not personal biases, more as a structural bias.
I don't understand people like who are in that position having bias, anyways. Apart from wanting the best person for the job,
Yeah, and
but
that's the way it
right?
should be.
Right, but I don't understand the people who aren't that way, right? Like, aren't you running a business here? Don't you want like people who are gonna get shit done, right? Like, why are you hiring fucking Joe Bob just because he's the same fucking color as you?
well, because a lot of people just want someone they can either control or someone that they can relate to, or
I bet Joe Bob does some badass work though.
some really ratchet work. Who knows?
I would hire that guy to lay
I was
brick
about to
for
say
me.
you hiring an old person, an old man of any kind or old woman of any kind is such a coin flip because they will either
Yeah,
do the most detailed, nice work you've ever seen in your life or the most half-assed, like ratchet fucking hillbilly engineering job you can think of. Like
Mad fucking facts there.
it's so
Jesus
hard to pick them
Christ.
apart.
yeah. The elderly are fucking wild because you either
Yeah.
get a god amongst fucking human beings or you get a piece of shit who's fucking
Right.
annoying to be
It's like
around.
once you get that old, it's weeded out all middle
Hash-
ground. It's you're
Hashtag
solely
my
sitting one or the other.
framers.
Hashtag
All
my
right.
framers.
Well, we are pretty far over time. Uh, does you guys have anything you want to wrap up? You need to apologize for anything, or just you can just say that like women suck or something, because that's what I think.
Yeah,
Jeremy is in the
probably what I
camp of
truly
women
think.
suck and men suck and
Everyone
children
sucks,
suck.
honestly.
Everyone sucks.
Whenever you apply for a job, you should basically give them your character sheet, like age, height, weight, muscle mass, fat index, eyesight scores, like just pure stats on your body.
And Jeremy would be fucking
I would not get
ineligible for
yeah,
every
I would
single
not
one of
get
them
any
because of
fucking
his
work if
eyesight
this is
skill.
true. My eyesight is horrendous,
Your
and I'm fat.
perception's fucking
You-
-1.
You got a -4 in perception, man.
Honestly, only if I'm not wearing my glass contacts. If I'm wearing glasses, it's still that bad, but it's fine. Anyways, so like normal, you guys can listen to our podcast anywhere you get your podcasts. That's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, YouTube, RSS.com. I said Google Podcasts, I'm pretty sure. Saying it again. And we were gone the past couple of weeks, mostly just because we're all lazy as fuck. There's really not a good reason for it.
I don't know. Nick, the motherfucker, went to a fucking monster truck rally and didn't even bother
didn't
to
even
invite me or
invite
Jeremy.
us. What the fuck?
It was actual Monster Jam too. So like Ryan Anderson was there, Adam Anderson was
Bro.
there. They had Son of a Digger. They have one of the Grave Digger
Oh,
trucks. They
bro,
had.
you can't say that.
Fuck, you can't say Gravedigger.
Some
Did I
sort of a
ever
digger.
Real
Motherfucker, son of a nigga.
real small side story. There's this electrical testing device. It's called a MIGger. We were testing a bunch of circuit breakers, and the guys that were there with us testing them kept saying, "Oh man, go get the MIGger. We need the MIGger in here." And every time I like slightly was like, "What? What?"
Well, it's okay because there's a tool for concrete called a jigger.
Dude, and then the little red fucking bugs over here called chiggers. Dude, the first people who have never heard of chiggers before, you come over here and you're like, hey, don't go around in the tall grass, you'll get chiggers. And they're like, what the fuck did you just say?
It does.
Like,
that really does sound like a racial slur, though. Like,
yeah,
I could see that being a racial slur for a Chinese black person.
X.
Anyways, before we come up with more racial slurs, I hope everybody has had a great week. And we will see y'all next time. Goodbye.